The vet thinks she has some sort of a freak accident, maybe a liver abscess, but in cases like this where the cow is clearly suffering, sometimes the most humane thing is to euthanize her. We have over 400 animals on our farm, and things like these are bound to happen. It happens everywhere. You can't have livestock without also having dead stock. However, that fact doesn't really make it any easier for me, because my job is to manage these animals, keep them alive, happy and healthy. And for this cow, I failed. So it sounds kind of corny, but basically every single time something like this happens, I apologize to the animal. And then I think long and hard about what I could have done differently, or well, I could have done anything to prevent it or make her more comfortable. In my opinion, humane slaughter is when it's done in a way that's quick and painless and done with the least amount of stress possible to the animal. Typically what happens to the animals that we send to slaughter is they get sent to the slaughterhouse the day before and they spend the night in a pen. That way they can calm down from the transportation. It's usually a stressful event, because then they can also get used to their new pen mates. And then the next day they're herded down a corridor towards the killing floor. And at the end of that corridor, they are hit with a captive bolt. And that captive bolt is quick, it's painless, they're knocked unconscious, and from that point forwards, they feel absolutely nothing. Even though there might still be some involuntary movements, because the animal feels nothing and the animal is completely unconscious. And then the captive bolt itself quite often has, I believe, about an 80% chance of completely killing the animal. But in other cases where that's not happened and they're still unconscious, it's the bleeding out that kills the animal. So the cow is hung up and then they cut their jugular and then the blood is drained out of the body, and from that point forward the cow is completely dead. Euthanasia on farm actually has quite a few advantages for animal welfare, because the animal is kept right where it's comfortable. It's not transported or moved anywhere. She's not stressed just before it happens. The only downside is she's usually suffering in one shape or another for there to be a reason for euthanasia. When we put an animal down on farm, we also use a captive bolt. And what we do is you load a bullet on the top of this captive bolt, and then you fire the mechanism on the side here. And then when you do that, there is a little pin that shoots out the bottom just that far. And that concusses the animal, but it's not a guaranteed kill. She can't feel anything, but there's a chance that after a while that animal may regain consciousness. It's pretty rare, but to prevent that from happening, and that being an absolutely catastrophe for animal welfare, we do something called pithing. And that's simply when you use any old wire and then you insert that into the cow's brain and you destroy it. That's way you know for sure she's dead.